$1.1 million in extra revenue in just 6 months. This is what we did for a trade business selling heat pump hot water units. In this video, I'm going to show you how we took a company from barely getting any leads and just paying for them to having a predictable, scalable system where leads are coming in every day that they can call and close. Before we stepped in, this client was paying for leads with a lead broker. And if you don't know what those are, it's basically where there's a company out there that has a website and they basically generate their own leads and then they sell them off to you. So the homeowner is inquiring with this business is not going to get a call from that business. It's going to get a call from one of the contractors that they're selling the leads to. So what happens is when you call as the contractor and you're calling this homeowner, they sometimes don't know who you are. They know they've inquired for a roof or a plumbing fix or a general hot water repair, but they don't know exactly who's going to call them, so that when you call them from, let's just say, Jim's Plumbing, they're not exactly aware that they inquired with you exactly. So that's when we implemented this custom funnel, which I'm going to show you in a second, where basically we can advertise and put our branding all over the internet so that people who are interested in this service, they can inquire with us and we can get their leads information. We can call them. They know exactly who's calling. It means that we're able to close the job. Here are some of the key questions that I'm going to be answering in this YouTube video. Number one, how did we generate $1.1 million through paid advertising? Number two, what strategies did we use to balance out lead quality versus lead quantity? Number three, how much budget do you need to get a result like this? Number four, what are the biggest mistakes when setting up a funnel just like this one? Right, so if we go to this presentation here, this is how we made $1.1 million return from a client spending about $61,000 in total for 6 months. And there's the screenshot of their revenue, and they've got a 21% conversion rate. These are just some of the clients that we've worked with, and they're all basically trade businesses. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Andrei. I'm the owner of Elite Exposure. I've been doing this for about 2 years now. But previously to this, I was actually a plumber by trade. So I've spent 5 years on the tools. I've spent time selling, and I've spent time marketing for big corporations. So this is how I know how to get as many good quality leads as possible so that you're able to scale your business predictably and reliably. So what was going wrong? The problem was they didn't really have a consistent flow of leads. They were more or less relying on other people to provide them leads. Now that might be great, you pay $30 and you get a lead, but the quality of the lead isn't always going to be the same. It's always going to be up and down, and more often than not, it's always going to be less than what you actually want it for. So some of the issues that this client had before they reached out to us is their sales were never increasing. So if you're buying 100 leads a month, that's $3,500 a month in budget. And if your sales are never increasing, how are you supposed to make more money? So they did have a bit of a revenue roller coaster. When they called some of these leads, they weren't exactly the best quality. Again, didn't know who you were. They did inquire somewhere on the internet, but they're not sure where. And now you're calling them trying to sell them something. So it doesn't really go too well. They didn't really have a really clear direction on where they were going. So it's sort of like, yeah, we're just riding along, but we're making a bit of revenue here and there. And they wanted something that could actually help them scale to keep going up and up and up. Another issue they had was there was no lead qualification of any kind. So basically the leads they were getting, they would just fill out their name and number, and that's about it. So as far as quality is concerned, anyone can get on this page and then inquire with you, and they could not be qualified at all. And they had trouble with leads not responding, which I'll get to in a second. So this is the exact funnel that we used to get this kind of result. So I'll bring it up here. So this is the exact funnel that we used, and we're going to go through this one by one. The main thing to keep in mind here is Facebook and Google ads. These are the primary drivers. The thing you need to keep in mind here is that Facebook ads and Google ads are the primary drivers for this business. You're advertising your business on Facebook and Google. People see it, they inquire because they're interested, and then we can take them on to the next step of the funnel. So very first step of the funnel, this is what we call top of funnel, is Facebook ads Google Ads. From there, we take them to a landing page, and we take them to a lead form if they're on Facebook, which we'll show here in a second. The next steps of the funnel, we want to, as soon as they inquire, they immediately get a text message saying, hey, whatever your name is, we've got your inquiry. Now, here are the next steps before someone calls you. And again, we'll send them an email with lots of great information as to why this heat pump is such a great solution for them. And the reason we do that is because it is genuinely a great solution. You know, the government pays for about 80-90% of the install, and they get to save money long term by the amount of energy that they don't have to spend. In this part of the funnel, we've got several emails that get sent out, as well as several text messages, just to qualify them a bit, because if they respond with something that we don't want, we immediately remove them from the funnel, because there's no point of us wasting our time trying to call them. Next, we obviously try to actually call the customer, because we want to see if they're actually qualified or not. Now, by this point, so by the time we call them, we determine, are they unqualified? And if they are, we give them a referral offer. So instead of them getting the package, they can refer a friend that actually does qualify, and then they would both get a voucher of some kind. So after we send them to our warm-up page, where they'll have tons of video content, they'll have case studies from other homeowners, and some video testimonials of how happy these homeowners are with the new system that they've had installed. So in terms of case studies, we have actual proof that what our systems, they actually reduce the power bill from up to about 80%. So these homeowners are genuinely getting a discount. So not only is the government paying for it again, but actually they're saving money long term because of the power consumption that's going to go down. So as soon as they see that, we receive photos from the client. As soon as we get there, we can send them a quote, in which again 80-90% is covered by the government. And then as soon as that quote is sent and the job is sold, now we've sold the job. And after the job is actually sold, so the client can refer a friend, and then once they've referred a friend, they both get a reward for it. So it's basically, we already have these leads, we've already paid for them, we may as well try to utilize it even more than what we currently are. So that is the basic funnel breakdown. Now I'll go through each individual steps, and we'll start with Google and Facebook ads. So here's what the funnel looked like. Now what actually went right? First of all, they went from a 9% conversion rate to a 19% conversion rate pretty much immediately. So immediately the feedback we got is that the leads that they're receiving from generating their own marketing, it was just significantly better, like night and day difference. They're getting leads that know who they are, and they genuinely want a heat pump installed. And the good thing about this is we have qualified and disqualified leads that weren't actually worthy of the service before someone even spoke to them. So there isn't one, we're not getting bad leads, and two, we're actually getting people that are interested. So another thing we noticed is the leads actually got cheaper, because you can imagine these companies that are selling you leads, they obviously have to make a profit. But when you generate your own leads, you just pay for the lead cost on Google and Facebook. So the leads immediately got cheaper. On Google, we're spending about $25 per lead, which is a little on the high side, but the intent behind it is a lot better. From Facebook, we're getting leads as low as $5 to $10, which is great because we can really work in volumes here. The response rate of these leads were considerably better. So when we tried to get a hold of some of these leads, the percentage of them that actually picked up was significantly higher. The quality of the leads was a lot better. You had a lot less people who didn't know exactly who you were, a lot less of them. And now we've got a lot more of people that know exactly who we are. We had this running within just 3 days and already getting leads. So that the time delay from actually signing on with us to actually getting leads is very quick. Automations, we have a ton of automations to nurture these leads so that one, they're more interested in the product, and two, it's going to be an easier close for us. So we're not spending as much time on the phone. When we do get on the phone with them, they are already pre-sold, and we just consistently had sales that kept increasing as we get more and better leads. Google ads. So as you can see here, over the past few months, we're able to get 550 leads for an average cost of $27. which is really good for leads that are at least somewhat interested in this rebate. The quality of the leads undeniably from Google is always going to be better than Facebook, but the cost of Google ads is definitely more than Facebook ads. When we were running these Facebook ads, the typical thing we like to do is, one, we will send traffic to a lead form, which is perfectly acceptable for Facebook. And two, we also have a separate campaign running that actually sends them to a website. Now, lead quality, we need to speak a little bit about lead quality, because if you have a set amount of budget, let's say it's $5,000 a month, you can either optimize to get more quantity or you can get more quality. So if you want more quality, that means we need to put a bit of friction in place to stop people who are going to waste your time from coming through. So when you do that, the cost per lead is going to increase, but the lead quality you're going to get is going to be significantly better. And this works vice versa. If I had a form on a website that just asks for name, phone number, and zip code, I'm going to get a lot more leads than if I asked for name, last name, email, address, zip code, why do you want this installed? Just all these other questions increase friction so that less people can come through, which is good if you want quality. Sometimes you do generally want quantity because of all these automations we have set in place. It's basically removing the junk afterwards. But yeah, that's basically how it works. For a set budget, you can either increase quantity or you can increase quality. And sometimes I prefer quality over quantity, but because of the systems we have in place and there's a lot of people coming through with this, we didn't actually mind getting more quantity in this particular case, but more often than not, we are trying to put barriers in place to get you the highest quality leads possible. Now, Facebook ads. One thing we like to do with Facebook ads, and it's quite unconventional, is we will actually test. One thing that we actually like to do with Facebook ads is actually test what headline is actually going to work. So for example, we will run an ad like this, and there are several variations of different headlines, and we're just trying to find out which of these headlines is actually the biggest pain point. And what we found in this particular system was wasting money on outdated hot water systems, and you can upgrade to a heat pump with no upfront cost. And this is the ad that did by far the best, because if we look at our best performer, which was this, is get an electric heat pump for free. That is by far the best ad that we had. And even you might say that it's a little misleading. You just had to pay for installation. So yes, you did get the electric heat pump for free. You just had to pay a little bit of installation, which only ended up being like $700. So that ad did by far the best. And if you don't already know, with Facebook ads, before and after photos do extremely well, because people can visually see, what do I have now and what am I going to get after I do business with you? If we go through the Google ads that we ran, this was actually a little unconventional, because on Google, normally you run just a search campaign. Now, in this particular case, a search campaign didn't necessarily work. And that is because people aren't actively looking for an energy saving solution. So what we did instead is we just used the Performance Max campaign, very unconventional. But the reason that Facebook ads does so well is that people know that they have a pain point, and that is, yes, I am probably spending a little too much on my energy bill. I get the energy bill, it's hundreds of dollars. It could actually be reduced. So we sent out messaging basically all over the internet saying that you can save money on your power bill by installing this, and the government will pay for it as well. So we ran ads like that, and that's how we're able to get such a good conversion rate and lots of leads without necessarily going for search, because the amount of keywords that are there wasn't really much, and we found that it didn't even perform that well. So the cost per lead was significantly higher for people looking for heat pump, hot water units, which is perfectly fine because we've got an acceptable solution that still is able to get in tons of leads at a great cost and that we can actually close. Now, what does this look like for the client? So we set up a CRM system so that the client could actually manage all these incoming leads. So we've got here, you got new leads, you've tried to call them, you tried to call them twice, tried to call them 3 times. this is how you can manage your leads. You can see a pipeline. So it's slowly going down the pipeline. If we need to kick anyone out, we need to kick them out. But the whole point is you manage the leads, and each step of the funnel that is here, that's when we send them automations to try warm them up so that the amount of leads that you're losing or potentially losing is completely minimized. So how this looked from before is you'll get a bunch of leads, they won't answer, you lost them, or they tell you to call them back. And then what it looked like after is just a whole bunch of booked and sold leads. You had less leads that didn't answer at all. Now, another important thing to touch on is timing. So there is actually a scientific study that says that if you do not call your leads within 5 minutes, they are going to drop off a cliff. So by having these automations in place that gets in touch with the customer straight away, automatically decrease the amount of people that didn't pick up the phone at all because we sent those automations. So if you're a business and you need to call your leads, if you're having trouble getting a hold of some of them, or if they've already gone to another person, another service provider, this is why. You can see them dramatic drop off from 6 to 30 minutes if you don't call within that first 5 minutes, and it just keeps going down and down. Now this depends on industry to industry. B2B might be a little different, but especially for business to consumer, this is absolutely the case. Automations we touched on before, so we've got quite a lot of automations based on the stage of the funnel that the prospect is in, and we just have automatic ones that warm up the leads and give them such great case studies that they have to get this heat pump hot water unit installed, especially because the government is paying so much towards it. So how this looked, we had ads that people would see on the internet. They would land on a nice landing page that we built them. So they would land on a nice landing page that we built them that basically gave them more information about the program and why they should use us to install it. From there, we had all the automations in place, but a salesperson can get in touch. Then we took them to a salesperson that would get in touch with them, and then you would get revenue as a result. So all the leads were completely managed. So you had inbound calls, inbound emails, you had some people texting through, Facebook messages, website chats, and then quotes. All of it goes through the system, and then as a result, you've got qualified leads. So a mix of all of these things put together, you've got a system that is all automated, so everything is nicely organized, and it's made to get you results. This whole exercise wasn't just about getting more leads. It was actually about building a system that could consistently and reliably bring in high quality leads that would then be nurtured so that the closing process would be easier and at a higher rate. By having this system in place, we were able to scale this business to $1.1 million in sales. So if you're a trade business and you could benefit from a system like this, you can actually book a call with me below and I can install something similar for your business so that you can consistently get more high quality leads for your company. And this is just one case study. I'll be sharing more videos just like this, along with some strategy videos to help you grow your business. So stay tuned.